In the year 1951, author J.D. Salinger published his first and only full-length novel, despite the fact that he published exactly 4 books throughout his lifetime, as well as written countless short stories and novellas. This right here will be the defining aspect of his life as an author, becoming a literary classic in the decades to come. For many of us, we have different opinions on The Catcher in the Rye. I myself, not the biggest fan of it, but you can't deny of its indisputable legacy because of the fact that it is so vital in classics, literature, as well as J.D. Salinger as a whole. This book defined who he is as an author, and many will continue to talk about this book despite the time that's passed and even with J.D. Salinger long gone. Compare that to another one-hit wonder case with Michael Crichton's Jurassic Park. This story, compared to J.D. Salinger's, has a movie adaptation, a whole series dedicated to it, all stemming from this one book. And yet Michael Crichton would go on to publish 29 books, including a sequel to Jurassic Park. Many would say this is his best and most important work, I myself included in that factor. But one thing's for certain is that this man never stopped writing and never stopped publishing in the years to come. Even with many not talking about those said stories, this is the one that many will remember. Comparing these two authors is an interesting thought bubble because I had different approaches on what writing means to me. As an author and writer, I've currently written 3 books, ready to publish my first one as soon as I turn 18. And the thing I want to understand most is how writing books depend on the individual themselves. More importantly, the more books you write, the more likely you're going to succeed. But in the case of The Catcher in the Rye, we don't see those exact examples. Many famous authors written exactly one or little amount of books, from cases such as The Wuthering Heights, as well as To Kill a Mockingbird. Those are examples of one-hit classics, and yet they stand the test of time even more than authors who've written 60 books throughout their lifetime and never made a single hit. So that begs the question, what should you do as an author? Should we try writing the perfect book, the perfect novel that will stand the test of time? Or do we try to do the same thing but create hundreds of books that many will soon forget? Michael Crichton is an interesting case because he published 29 books. Compare that to someone like Stephen King, who's done over 40, 50, and then you compare that to many other countless writers around the world, and then you've seen their success is not paradigm. It's not exactly correct. And in this video, I want to discuss how said success truly is up to luck, but what path that matters most is how often you write and how much effort you put into whatever book you're trying to sell, whether it's 1, whether it's 5, or in Michael Crichton's case, up to 30. It's like that saying in albums where we look at an artist's discography and we see how much they've evolved. When looking at an example like Prince or David Bowie, they have over 30 plus albums in their catalog. And I'm using this metaphor to help thorough the idea of books a little bit better. When you are a music artist like Prince or David Bowie, you have countless songs on the table, some of which will be generational classics and others will be absolutely horrible. But in your perspective as the music artist you are, you have to summarize all those songs and create a level of ingenuity that will best serve an album. An album is a music experience that artists will try to sell, but over the course of time they can be perceived like a movie, like a short book, or even like a film and TV show. Our experience listening to albums vary from person to person, but similar to books, they are the defining aspect of a creator. Despite the fact that Prince sold over 40 plus albums throughout his lifetime, you compare that to other artists who do similar or even higher highs than Prince. One of the most notable examples for me is the case of Nirvana, or one of my personal favorite artists of all time, D'Angelo. Both of these artists, respectively, only sold and released 3 albums, each of their own reasons being whatever the reason they are. The reason for both of these is not because of a business standpoint or an economic standpoint, but it's from an artistic lens. Some may say because of unfortunate circumstances, But overall, the release of albums really depends on the audience as the money fades, history changes. And when we look at purely a discography from an artist, we see what they've released and we consume what they have. Heading back to books, it's important to realize that authors have a different approach of how you're going to consume media. You don't exactly get the same feedback as you do when listening to an album. When you read a book, you're on your own to interpret the ideas yourself. In the example of J.D. Salinger, The Catcher in the Rye is his only novel for the sake that it's the only one he actively published, a full-length novel, this being roughly over 234 pages on my copy. And when I thought about why this story is so important, it begs the question of how much effort J.D. Salinger himself went into writing the story. It's a similar but different aspect when you consider Jurassic Park with Michael Crichton, who spent years researching the ideas of Jurassic Park and ultimately coming up with the full-length novel over 450 pages. It's insane how much effort he put into this, but I'm telling you, it's important to realize the effort an author puts in depends on what they're going to receive. I've been treating books similarly to how I've been treating these recent YouTube videos. You're going to get the same result no matter what. And when you put in so much time and effort into one idea and it doesn't sell, then my best advice for you is to create another idea. In the case of The Catcher in the Rye, you could arguably say it was up to luck, but for many it could be for personal decisions similar to those artists we listed, or for downsides of being an author. As audience members of mine, I highly suggest you focus on trying to write the best story you can, all the while still pursuing the most amount of works possible. Depending on if you're under a publisher or not, you have the ability to write as many novels and many stories as you can in the world. But I would highly advise you to publish the ones that you deem best. It's important to realize this because everyone has a different perspective on what they consider best. I saw a comment the other day talking about how someone already written a 4-book saga, all the while still having yet to publish it for the fear that it's not as good. And when we consider an author like J.D. Salinger or one-hit classics such as the authors of To Kill a Mockingbird as well as Wuthering Heights, it's important to realize then that their stories are their stories for the sake that they're trying to tell what they want. It's a legacy thing. Meanwhile, authors like Michael Crichton, Stephen King, and many more all focus on the idea of selling as many books as possible. In my opinion, I feel the best result between those two extremes, from 1 to 2 books to over 40 plus books, is the middle. It's trying to make as many books as possible, yet not sacrificing the quality of it. If I want to use a music artist that I feel very similar to this aspect, is the Beatles. Now this doesn't work as well because of financial problems and the breakup definitely at the end of their history. But in short, the Beatles focus on releasing albums for sales. They focused on trying to garner as much business revenue as possible, yet they soon started doing the more artistic and unique things. When we try to be authors, we initially begin trying to make these artistic jumps and ideas. We tell stories for a reason and we try to build themes off of it. However, as we grow older, we then begin writing for the sake of writing. Sometimes we follow the trends, sometimes we follow what is in our hearts. But I believe if you want to make the best bank out of your success, then I'm certain you have to build the best quality. While quantity over quality is a phrase that I am quite annoyed by nowadays, it's important to realize that you can consistently show up for something, yet still make quality content. If you're able to write every single day, write up to 6 books a year, yes, it is possible to do that, then you are able to write at least 1 quality book in that time, so long as you're still putting in the effort to give into the story. As self-publishers like myself, I believe that your story is your story and you can do whatever you want with it. I'm going to publish my first book despite the fact that it's not good. I'm going to revise it so that it is good and understand why it's important to me and why I value it so much in the reading world. When we try to write as authors, we begin thinking of all these amazing ideas. And before we know it, we get lost in our writing. Sometimes we say it's a good idea to keep that, and other times we try to forget about it. But understand that you can use all these ideas and more to tell hundreds of thousands of stories. Nothing is stopping you, especially with the technology we have nowadays. And if you're willing to put the efforts and you're willing to put the work, then I guarantee you can create as many books as humanly possible. It depends on the question less of, is my writing good, and more, do I want it more? Do I want it more than my competitors? Do I want to share this world more than most worlds out there? Is my world matter? Does my world matter more than everything that we see in today's day and age? And when you ask these hard questions about your story and why you're writing it in the first place, you will begin understanding why you create the stories you love, why you read the stories you love, and overall, how you can use all these worlds to build upon a life worth living. Just understand that depending on what kind of author you want to be, you have the choice. Build one successful literary classic, all the while keeping your writing to yourself, friends, or family, or continue pursuing the arts of publishing, yet many will only remember the best of the best. It truly depends on you, and I myself am going to write as much as I can, because I believe everyone has a story to say. I believe everyone has a story to tell. And if we learn to appreciate everyone's stories just a little bit better, then we will be able to become better individuals in the long run. Be more knowledgeable and understanding of what we're creating. We're not trying to entertain ourselves to death, but we're trying to live, to understand, to empathize, and most of all, build curiosity through the works we are creating. So the choice is yours now. Continue working on your story and build on that solely, or write till the end of time and create your stories that you believe will be best served for the world to see. Thank you for watching today's video. Use this information wisely to continue inspiring others. This was a video actually inspired by this video called 40 albums versus 3 albums. I would highly suggest you check that out after this one if you're a music listener just as much as me. But if you're not, I'm here to help you as authors and writers go. Check out my Instagram down the top, link in the description, for me to help you become the best writer you can. Along with that, check out my books down there as well. Until next time, I am Arnel Arcega. Keep on reading, keep on writing, and take care.